to Gruen, we begin with shocking news for one of the nation's biggest brands.
It's too much. Emma Wiggle is hanging up her yellow skivvy.
What? That's right, Emma is leaving. And I blame this Uber Eats campaign.
Dinner is better when we eat together. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. I now hate music.
Me too, Simon Cowell, who, by the way, wasn't even in the same room as the Wiggles when he filmed that. Simon might be a flog, but the biggest floggers are the Wiggles, who rake in a reported $20 million a year from tours, TV, merch and sponsorships, like this theme park ad, which has 750,000 views. More like Big Ad Whore. You should hear their song about the big four banks. They also sell toothpaste with Captain McLean, which makes sense when you're forced to smile that much. Emma also did a tie-in with Tourism Australia.
This brand new book is from the Wiggles and it's called The Great Australian Wiggly Road Trip.
Or How I Ruined Book Club. And Big W.
I'm getting ready for the biggest Wiggly birthday party ever. And where is this birthday party going to be? Let's have a look. On Big W's Facebook page.
Worst birthday ever. From this Big W to you. Emma's departure is also a huge loss in revenue because over 50% of Wiggles merchandise produced is Emma specific. At least I'll always have my Emma puzzle, Emma show bags, Emma Funko Pop, Emma Fairy lunch bag, Emma interactive ballet mat, the Emma indoor trampoline, the Emma indoor patio set, etc., 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 and my favourite, the Emma Wiggle pigtail set. Yes, Russell, you can borrow them. But I can't wait to see what Emma does next, particularly as she already has portrait painting skills that would give Ando a brush with shame. In the meantime, she can always join these international Wiggles franchises.
Hola a todos, somos the Wiggles.
Or this off-brand South Australian mattress store knockoff.
Hey, we're the Haggles! Wake up, Haggles! You don't want to miss this! Haggle Code!
I think in legal circles, that's considered a hot potato. Let's get a wiggle on and bring in our panel for this evening. Russell Howcroft, Karen Ferry, Christina Aventi and Todd Sampson! Right now, Christmas might be cancelled, not by the Grinch, but by a new crisis.
Lockdowns, border closures and a global supply chain crisis means there will be a shortage of almost everything from gifts to groceries.
That's next on the Absolute Bummer Report. And while supply is under threat, demand has never been higher. Online purchases are up 76% in the last 12 months as Australians spend a record $50 billion online last year. Australia Post is delivering around 10 million parcels per week, or more accurately, 10 million of these. No one has benefited more from pandemic purchases than $2.2 trillion behemoth Amazon, who have broken sales records and the spirit of its workers. Amazon also delivered this new campaign.
Cleopatra was the most powerful woman in Egypt. But no one likes a diva, hun. Watching Prime Video, she realised rulers could give back. So she ordered some gifts with Prime. After that, it was more of a one team, one dream kind of vibe. Couldn't give up all the gold, though. Prime changed everything.
Oh, I get it. She's like Jeff Bezos, but generous. Karen, why would Amazon make an ad invoking slavery?
It is a little bit on the nose. Like, she is the ruler of Egypt, and little buff boy Bezos is the owner of a third of the internet, who rides in the back of underpaid workers to get in his magic space dildo. But this is a fable turned good, and, you know, that's kind of what they want you to take away from it, is a little bit of that good PR, because if you read the news globally, they have not great stories about the way they treat their workers and how they pay them in factories. And while it doesn't affect us as consumers, it does affect them as a business. Like, they employ 1.3 million people in the US. And if they're forced to increase labour wages, they actually face really tight profit margin pressures, which is kind of like a house of cards. And currently in the US, there is a really tight and competitive workforce. So they've already increased labour wages by 6% to $18 an hour, which, lol, isn't much. But if this news of how they're not being a good Cleopatra and sharing the wealth around gets to the small towns where all these Amazon warehouses are, people who work there are going to choose to go to Walmart instead, because even though they're going to get paid less, that doesn't mean they have to make toilet in a plastic bottle.
The other thing that's interesting about Prime is you have to ask yourself, why bother advertising Prime? Well, Prime is Amazon's frequent flyers. They have over 200 million subscribers. What they know is that if you're a Prime subscriber, 80% of your searches for anything that you want is on Prime with Amazon, and only 12% on Google, which is what they want. And they also know that if you're a Prime customer, you spend twice as much on Amazon as non-Prime customers. So it's really a data play on behalf of Amazon.
Amazon is no stranger to controversy. It had to change its logo because it looked like Adolf Hitler.
Oh.
But if you look at Amazon's ads on TikTok, their delivery drivers are having a great time. Oh, the antique vase I ordered just arrived. Now, a lot of people think the ABC is boring, but let's prove them wrong and talk at length about a cardboard box. Christina, what is the value of this box to Amazon?
A hell of a lot more than that TikTok that is so inauthentic. And why are they all girls dancing with those horrible moves? We have far better moves. Anyway, in terms of the value of that box, it's what we call a distinctive asset, OK? So this is a magnet for meaning and memorability. And that's because, I guess, and it's everything from the cardboard box to the sticky tape to the Smile logo. When you're an aggregator and a logistics company, you want to make it felt and you want to make it sort of tangible. Now, that box is where all the meaning is carried. It's the emotional high point of the experience, right? It's a box of anticipation and excitement, or disappointment if you're watching that TikTok ad.
Yeah.
There is one downside in terms of being that recognisable, is that you're a target for porch pirates. And I think they lose something like $9 billion a year from porch piracy. And they've got this subversive plan of having mystery boxes that are really shit that you can buy, that I think is a deterrent for some of those porch pirates as well.
Yeah.
That is the power of that Amazon box.
This ad'll work. I think it's a cracker, right? Seriously, just give me dancing with a product or a brand any time, and that will absolutely work. I'm serious, right? It's entertaining. It's entertaining, and it also does evoke the feeling that many people would have when the box arrives. It's very simple. It's on a simple platform. You only have to watch it for a few seconds. That's enough. It will work.
One sobering statistic claims that a fifth of us online shop while drunk, spending on average $388 each, including one pissed punter that bought 100 tiny top hats for their pet toad. Money well spent. They'll go great with my Emma pigtails. But shopping doesn't always lead to buying. 70% of consumers don't complete an online purchase due to something called cart abandonment. Karen, what tricks do online brands use to chase down those cart abandoners?
So these companies, online marketplaces, know that it is easy to convert someone who's abandoned something in their cart as opposed to trying to find a random on the internet. So that's why you get emails with like discount coupons and ongoing sales and all the time. And once you leave their website, they stalk you around with retargeted ads in your news sites, in your Instagram, in your inbox, reserving you images of the products that you've abandoned. Because this is actually a technique that was developed by Boohoo, which is kind of like a big trash chain store in the UK that's online only. And their whole premise was to just show pictures of the items over and over again, because then it normalises it as a purchase.
Yes.
Yeah, I end up buying a lot of stuff online from my girls because they don't have a credit card. They're not getting one for a very long time. But that's why I buy.
You should tell them about Afterpay. It's fine.
But the techniques that are... So I try as best I can to sort of educate them and say, hey, look at that. Do you think that's real? And the ones that I've noticed that have been jumping out a lot when we get close to purchase is the one is peer pressure. 35 people are looking at this now. And the amount of times my kids come in my room and say, Dad, we got to get it now. There's only 7 of them. 8 people are watching it and only 7 left. And the other one that I thought is quite clever is they know that if you have to put in your purchase information, your credit card information or your purchase information at the end, you often fall away because it's too hard, you finish shopping, you just let it go. So they try to get that information early, and they do it with pop-ups. And the pop-up will have something like, it's manipulation. It's like reverse psychology. You'll say, no, thank you, I'd rather pay exorbitant prices. Or, no, thank you, I love being ripped off. And so they're playing these mind games. But the latest one that got me, and this one should be illegal, but it's not, is the speck of dirt. I don't know if anyone else has that one.
What?
On mobile, it looks like a speck of dirt, and when you go to move it, you click and you open. And it completely hooked me.
No way.
Completely hooked me.
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. Yeah, it's been in the... Oh, people are going to Google it and check it out. But no, speck of dirt touching is a real trick. You have people that are dedicated, that spend 12 hours a day just thinking about usability and how to get people to click at the top right corner onto that. And they use all kinds of techniques.
There's all sorts of techniques, to your point, like they're using behavioural psychology. Even at that point of checkout, you'll have scarcity value. So it's not just social proofing. You'll have, there's only 2 of these left, and you see all the sizes sort of going. You're like, oh my God, what if this is the last of the basic white tees ever? I must buy it now.
Glad the good people are winning. After I make an online purchase, brands always want to hear from me. Well, can you hear this? Piss off. Online retailer Kogan was fined more than $300,000 for sending 42 million marketing emails. Online fashion retailer The Iconic is also stressing me out.
The sooner you hit the blue button to shop my outfit at The Iconic Sport, the better it is for everyone. Especially me. Hit the blue button. Come on. Is your finger broken? Click it.
Unfortunately, I hit the red button and he's now in the Matrix. Todd, why are online brands so needy?
Well, that's a demonstration of new technology. So that is a YouTube, Google technology. It allows you to interact with the ad if you hit the button and allows you to buy immediately. But they're playing on the old psychological tricks of urgency bias. You get this feeling like you need to do that. In fact, most times in ads, we complain about there not being a clear call to action. And a lot of ads fail because you watch it and then you don't exactly know what to do. Well, in this ad, the ad was call to action. I mean, he basically just screamed at you the whole time to tell you to push the button. I didn't hate it.
But I might be angry Tina tonight, but I take offence to that because it feels like a hostage video. It's like click on this or he will die. And I just don't want to be guilted into doing something. I don't feel like it was persuasion. I felt like it was, manipulative, but I know the industry I'm in, so I feel like I was
just going to clarify.
It's good that you finally found a place to draw a line, Christine. Now every brand is getting into the delivery game. This week, Westfield launched its own online delivery service.
With Westfield Direct, the things you love can now find you.
Westfield, wherever you are.
Pixar have really stopped trying. While Woolworths have dark stores with no in-person customers, or, you know, maybe it's just closed. Christina, will we ever shop in, what are they called again? Shops?
Look, hell yeah, like we will. There's going to be a COVID sort of rebound, and we know that there's a lot of pent-up demand for shopping. I read a stat that like 70% of people are just really wanting to go back into in-person shopping again. And so something like browsing and loitering is almost like a joyful act of rebellion, given what we've experienced. It's about sticking a finger up to COVID. So we'll absolutely shop in real person. And I think, you know, an in-store experience is always... It was the original augmented reality, right? Like we bought into the brand worlds that we lived in for a little bit, and I think we'll never lose that. That's just going to get innovated over time.
Obviously, COVID has assisted, you know, online shopping, obviously. But it's interesting to look at both the UK and the USA, who have been in shops, you know, longer than we have over the last few months, and it's still at around 20% in both markets, so as in online as a percentage of total retail, which was really surprising to see that. So I think that just, you know, shows we do love to actually go shopping because, you know, shopping doesn't have to be a chore. Shopping can be joyful, it can be experience. Just the browsing itself, it can be a creative thing. It isn't just about utility and about function. It's about, you know, the fruit that you're able to get from being in stores and the interaction and chatting to people, having a lovely conversation with the person behind the cash register, having a relationship, all those things that I thoroughly miss.
Yeah. And I mean, one day you'll mention something that's appealing to me, but each to their own.
I was trying.
I'm not, like... Look, I agree with you both in a point, but I think you see, like, the lines were outside a Kmart. They weren't outside, like, a Miller's. Like, people like the experience of shopping at Kmart, the same as people love the experience of shopping at Bunnings, because both of those are experiences that encourage you to browse. They are a whole experience, so that way, you know, like, you think about Bunnings, it's like you get the sausage sizzle, you get your paint mixed, you can ask for help, and you can pick a plant. It's like, that's all the wrapper of the experience, and same with Kmart, people go in purposely to browse. But for most other shops, people went back, and then they were reminded about how much they hate it, how much they hate parking, how much they hate dealing with queues, how much they hate dealing with, like, horrible sales assistants. I think there will be an element of, like, concept stores is the fancy word they call it, but anything that is a really great in-person experience. But for the things like supermarkets, that's going to drop off. And also it's like, shopping sucks. It's not great. Like, I think there are occasions where it's great. There are a lot of occasions for a lot of people where it's not. Like, for example, when I went to New York and I went to a department store and a boutique, in all the stores, I was followed by security because they saw me and they were like, you're not white, you must shoplift. And I think for a lot of people who experience racial profiling or age and gender discrimination or have a disability, being patronised by a sales assistant or other customers is a reason why you choose online shopping. And you look at something like car sales, they're all moving online because women will research their car, pick their car, select their car, book in a test drive and buy it online because they do not want to deal with a car salesman asking them where their husband is. Same with virtual shopping rooms and stuff like that. It's people just don't love it as much as I think we do.
You make it really tough for me to say how much I love shopping.
I mean, as one of the disenfranchised groups, a white, straight, rich man, must be very tough for you out there, Russ.
I get it well.
This week, Channel 7 announced 7 Shop, where viewers can instantly buy whatever they see on the network. Whether it's milk from the cash cow or the last shreds of dignity from a Dancing with the Stars contestant. No, that's unfair. That does not exist. Great idea. In fact, if you press the red button on your remote right now, you can buy advertising space on Todd's T-shirt. I'll give you an example. We can just do it here. There we go. Or like this. There we go. Or like this. Or like this. Now let's fast forward to the pitch. It worked! After 100 years of homeschooling, we thought we'd ask our agencies to shake it up like a fragile Amazon vase. First up, a pitch to convince us that all kids should be shipped to boarding school.
Hi, I'm Jason Perelson at Creative People at Synergy Group, and we thought about it and Eric, take over.
Sure. We looked at the reality that parents and kids live with every day, and of course our own experiences. And we thought, what if there's a better way to be better? Hope you enjoy.
Make sure you're getting that homework done and feeding the family. That report needs submitting, and getting the gutters done and figuring out that maths problem, and be a loving partner. Washing's ready. Did I get that birthday present? Oh, dishwasher. Wash your hands. Eat your dinner.
Get outside and play.
Finish your homework. Review the draft report.
Get dressed.
No, all of it.
Let's go for a walk. Brush your teeth. Submit the task. Get off the screen.
Off the screen. That's my charger.
Let's go for a
Get
walk.
off the screen. YouTube. We're not our best self when we're every self. We're all better when they're boarding.
Well, you've convinced me, and now a pitch to convince us all to keep our kids in homeschooling.
Hi, I'm Simon Collins of Collins & Partners. The ad we've created is about a group of Australian children who've been kind of forgotten about during lockdown. I hope it makes you think.
Yeah, homeschooling really sucks. I hate it, actually. It's just really difficult not being around other kids. There's texting and Instagram and stuff like that, but it's just not the same as physical contact. Punching kids on the bus, giving them wedgies, taking their lunch money. I really miss it.
Mom, you've done it again.
Can't wait to get back.
Well, you've convinced me, but let's find out what the panel thinks. Todd, you first. Which did you prefer?
So in the second one, I did like the misdirection, where we were traveling down one path and suddenly we were gone to another, although I couldn't shake cyberbullying out of my mind. In the first one, I just loved the truth that we want to get rid of our kids. So I'm going with 1.
Christina, what about you?
Yeah, I agree that the second one had that really good sort of, shift in the tempo. I didn't expect that. But yeah, that's not how I want to solve bullying. So the first one, I guess, there was that sort of insight of, like, when we're trying to be all these different selves, we're not really ourselves, absolutely resonant. But if my kids are watching, you're not going to boarding school, so it's okay. So the first one.
What about you, Karen?
I really loved the craft in the first one. The narrative took like a really strong right turn, hilarious. But I will say watching the second one reminded me of being a high school student, how much I hated school just because of the other students that were there. So the nerd in me is voting number 2.
OK, Russ, I want to know what your answer is here. Which did you prefer?
So the second one, we're asking parents to have a social conscience. And in the first one, we're expecting parents to be selfish. So I'm going to go with the first one because that's the most likely.
All right. Well, congratulations. Creative people at Synergy Group. We'll pop this trophy in your lunchbox. We're about to delve into a product owned by Brazilian corporation JBS-SA, the largest meat processing company in the world, which has sold over $70 billion of meat in the past year. I'm saying this now so you don't feel bad about what happens next, because in a year of upsetting news, the time has come for us to dive deep into what might well be the most upsetting development of all.
Take your breakfast to tasty new heights with Primo Scrambles. Add a fresh egg to the delicious Primo bacon and cheese for a tasty hot breakfast in just 1 minute. New Primo Scrambles, the breakfast of your dreams.
It's hard to know how to rebuild after you first learn about Primo Scrambles. A product that's also been taunting me on the back of buses. But let's start with its wildly optimistic slogan.
The breakfast of your dreams.
The breakfast of your dreams? Firstly, get better dreams. And secondly, Christina, why not be honest and just market it as the breakfast of your nightmares?
Yeah, irony works sometimes, but I think maybe this would only be a dream for someone who's been in lockdown too long, but there might be a legitimate need for some people. Maybe it's that 2-minute noodle crowd, students, maybe tradies who've got an early sort of morning call, Macca's isn't open yet, maybe that sort of 1 a.m. dirty kebab, fourth meal sort of occasion as well. But what's really interesting is there's a legitimate segment. Like we do these segmentation maps where we map the needs that people want from their food. There's food lovers, and there's this segment called Zappers. I know that sounds a little bit beam me up, Scotty, but it's a legitimate segment. There's about 17% of people who are Zappers. I don't know if they self-identify as being Zappers, but someone's called them that. And basically what they want is really fuss-free, foolproof, mess-free, nukeable food because they have a very functional relationship with food. And I think this is right up their alley.
The answer's in the target audience. The gentleman who was in the ad, this product is probably the breakfast of their dreams. I'm sure that it absolutely appeals to many people for its simplicity. I am really keen to try it too, Will.
Yeah, I can give you a little prelude. It's disgusting.
I'm serious. I'm really that to me, the idea of that product. Genuinely, I can see that as being the breakfast of my dreams.
Oh, boy, jeez.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, it's got everything. It's got everything in it that I like.
There can be a real arrogance or desperation around innovation, product innovation. Some organizations believe that we don't know what we want until we're given something. You know, the argument that people often make is, you know, we just wanted faster horses until someone made a car. Also, in desperate need of profit, companies look inwards and they go, how can we innovate something that uses the offcuts of what we currently have that doesn't increase any costs? And this feels like innovation, not from what can we do to revolutionize the food industry as much as it is what can we do to get rid of the products that we currently have and make a high profit margin.
That's what it feels like to me too. Like one day someone was just sweeping the floor of the factory. And it's like, you know what, I've got an idea here.
And part of it is a test. It's like they are testing the elasticity of price or the elasticity of stupidity. Because it costs...
I've got to be honest with you, the elasticity of your colon, I imagine.
Because they're playing off the premise of convenience and how much value sits within convenience, and they must believe a lot of value sits within convenience.
They have made. I think they've made a very good idea here, and they think it's a good idea as well, because you're not going to put that sort of money behind the product, are you? Unless you believe that you've actually onto something. And these are organisations that research stuff to the nth degree. They're not going to go down this expensive innovation route without having absolute confidence in what they've done.
I don't think it's an expensive innovation, Russ.
Of course it's an expensive innovation. You've got to create the packaging. Yeah, so the packaging itself is new. That's not part of their existing line. So they have to go through that process.
But this isn't a new thing. Microwaving scrambled eggs in a mug, in a microwave, isn't a new thing. That's like something that people do all the time, and it's not great. And I think it's very similar to what this product is. But also, like, they might have tested the product. I don't think they've tested the ad. The ad is weird. I have so many questions about the ad. Like, breakfast of your dreams is a line that you would use if you don't have an idea, if you've got nothing to say. It's the same as, like, fall in love with breakfast or a whole new world of breakfast or breakfast reimagined. They're all, like, nothing phrases that advertisers just throw out there when they're like, ugh. But also, like, every time I watch that ad, it weirds me out more because you said, like, you know, he's the epitome of this target audience. But I've got so many questions, like, is he a tradie? Because it makes sense. Tradies often will have an iced coffee and an egg roll for breakfast. Yep. Okay, is he a keto bro in an office who microwaves eggs and stinks out the whole kitchen? Maybe. Is he in a share house? Is he hungover? Is he a teenage boy? But then when you see him sit down and he's got his mugacchino and his print magazine and his reading glasses, I'm like, is he Russell? Like, and then who puts a plant on the microwave?
At first I thought it was a piss take. Because of the whole fluffy clouds and then the fluffy product and I thought, and then, you know, breakfast of your dreams. I thought it was a piss take in the beginning.
I think there's a heavy dose of irony in it, like
Yes.
especially with the song and stuff. I don't think it's sort of taking itself seriously, but not that seriously. I think.
It's not.
No.
For a product that is built around ease, there's a surprising amount to unpack. Inside this $3 carton are tiny packets of Here's a man who didn't work out a lot during lockdown. This is obviously for tradies, not for people with soft hands like entertainers. I've nearly got a sweat up trying to open this thing. Ah! Oh my God, I did not realise the meat would be loose. It's loose meat. It is literally... I thought it would be in a packet.
No.
It is literally just loose meat that they've scraped into...
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Of course it is!
Well, because there's already a lid on it. If there wasn't a lid on it, then it wouldn't be loose.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the cheese is separate.
As many... Oh, God. As many YouTube comments point out, these shredded dregs are valued at around $100 per kilo, somewhere between lobster and Balenciaga meme bait. The website has instructions on how to make the 1-minute meal, but something jumped out at me in the ad.
Add a fresh egg to the delicious Primo bacon and cheese.
Hold on, surely not. Let me consult the package. Oh, my God. You have to BYOE. Bring your own egg. They really need to update those instructions by go home, realise it doesn't come with an egg, go back to the shop, buy egg, crack, stir, cook. Think about what went wrong in your life to bring you to this point. Throw in bin. Karen. Why do you have to BYO egg?
I mean, it would make sense if you're making this product to, like, put in a little bit of powdered egg and then all people have to do is add their water, do whatever to make it all sweaty in the microwave. But people have a huge aversion to powdered eggs. Well, when they invented cake mix in the 1930s, it originally had powdered egg in it, you had to add water. 3 years later, they had to change the patent where people had to add an egg because there was a huge psychological barrier to thinking that they were good. Also, Australians, we're snobs, we're food snobs, and, you know, we're really brunch snobs and egg snobs. In 2018, Australians ate 245 eggs in the year each, and I did not, so someone's eating double. But also over COVID, we had an egg renaissance or an egg naissance, where people were eating more eggs for breakfast than ever before, more eggs throughout the day.
I think that's the best part of the ad, is the deceptive nature of it. So they kept... So this is
Scrambled eggs,
this is an ad about convenience.
Yeah.
But they hid the inconvenient part, which is the egg.
You need an
and
egg.
They only put it in the VO. They don't show it. They don't let you know that you need to, you need the egg. They pretend in their own way that it's all there because they show you the dream, which is that fluffy, hideous-looking clouds of egg.
But most of that isn't in here.
No, it's not.
Like that picture, the egg isn't in here. It is literally just a packet of cheese and some clearly pre-loved ham.
See, I love the fact I love the fact that you've got to put your own egg in there because that of course gives you the sense that you've actually done something. So the idea that there's a moment of value add, and I'm looking after myself. Oh, here I am. I'm doing a bit of cooking.
Oh my God!
Yeah, absolutely.
Russell, I reckon though they might have entertained how they could get the egg in there, so you could still have that experience and appease to you. But I imagine they couldn't crack it because, you know, eggs are fragile, and what are you going to bubble wrap it? And it's going to take you more time to unwrap the bubble wrap around the egg and then cook it.
There's not much an influencer won't plug, but everyone has a line, and for many, that line is Primo Scrambles. A paid post on a website Thrillist says, "Nobody asked for it, but it's here." This sponsored BuzzFeed review is about as convincing as an ISIS hostage video.
It just tastes like scrambled eggs that I would make typically. Delicious.
Blink twice if Primo Scrambles are holding a gun to your head. It scored 1 out of 10 on a product review website where Christine called it an odd and misguided egg product. Actually, Christine, you have to BYO egg product. Taz Daz on his food review YouTube channel got straight to the point.
It's definitely not going to fill up Daz. I'd probably need about 3 or 4 of them.
Good news, Daz, they'll be available. And here's what happened when YouTube cooking sensation That's What I Reckon sampled scrambles.
Oh, it's a fucking scene in here. Remove and stir. Right, let's serve them up.
Yuck. Personally, I think Primo should embrace who they are, so we've lent them a helping hand with a slightly more on-brand ad.
Everybody hurts sometimes.
That is all we have time for this week. Thanks to our panel, Russell, Karen, Christina and Todd. We started tonight talking about brands losing their stars, but none have been hit harder than the Flight Centre pilots, grounded since 2020. So what happens to the old mascots once they fly away for good? We've decided to find out by tracking down one of the original Flight Centre pilots, who, spoiler, isn't a real pilot. We'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Colin Handley, alias the Flight Centre Captain. I was Flight Centre Captain for nearly 9 years. I had a wonderful reign. I've been a stunt performer for over 20 years. I started when I met Chuck Norris and went to Hollywood. Worked with some of the greats, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, Bruce Willis. I've been back in Australia running Stunt Park, a training facility for stunt performers, which I absolutely love going to work every day. So anyway, for all of you at home, at Flight Centre, we guarantee the lowest airfares.